Welcome to Book Salve and um, this third part of reading I Am Homeless If This Is Not My Home by Lorrie Moore in my As I Read series. And this is from pages 98 to 137. We first go back to the past where Elizabeth is writing to her sister. We now find out that she's been starting to have share a claret with her handsome lodger, who's now got a name of Jack. Interestingly, that Jack is also the name of Lily's beau that Finn is so jealous of. And we also have on page 101, I wanted to look something up on there. Bear with me just a second while I do that. Talk amongst yourselves. I do. There we are. Right. Everything had to start somewhere except eternity, which shot out in all directions endlessly and so had no such spot. Lily says to Finn, "Hit the road, Jack," which is interesting. Is she saying that to taunt him a little bit about Jack, or is she saying it to herself that she's saying goodbye to Jack as she goes away with Finn? Don't know. It could be either of those things. But we also have a nice little passage here where Finn is looking at Lily as he drives, and Lily's in and out of sleep. He fiddled with the radio dial but didn't get much. As they drove, Finn would glance quickly and get to see Lily bestirring herself in and out of sleep over and over. This repetition of her re-electrified life exhilarated him. Confusion, her beauty, thrilling in its contradictory familiar ways, confusion in the brown calm along the mouth, her seeking him with one eye only, the other at rest behind its veiny lid, her hands gnarled and violet, but with golden vellum in the webbing between her thumbs and forefingers. Really beautiful little piece there from Lorrie Moore. That's absolutely wonderful. There are a few little bits on this. It's interesting that Lily eats a slice of a section of grapefruit and pops the other into Finn's mouth. This is the grapefruit that was put on a grave. I guess it's got to be. They talk as people as they will do over this lengthy road trip that they go on. Here, I have another passage here. He always had difficulty with some of her monologues, but tried hard to understand her. Moments of intense discovery are emotional for scientists, he had read recently, and a diamond achieved its shape through massive force. Did this apply to them? Perhaps they were alike in that their soliloquies were conducted in a lone spotlight on the stage, like everyone's, theatre being the final retreat of the secretive, the house lights completely dark, so who knew was sitting out there, or if anyone was at all. Again, a passage that to me makes the book very worth reading. It's what I expect when I read something, and a book that just goes through the plot and just tells you what's happening, but doesn't actually have any poetic or beautiful language in it. What's the point? I don't see why we should be interested in that. Talk about being Knoxville bound, or he sort of suggests that, and she's cool with it. I don't know. I mean, Knoxville's, they're crossing backwards and forwards over the Tennessee River, and I suppose Knoxville's a culturally significant place for music, certainly, and as crossroads to the Appalachians. And, two literary figures, James Agee and Cormac McCarthy, also got links there. Some nice little, again, phrases in here that we've come across. We whistle turkey in the straw, but there is mainly straw. She gives him a look that he used to love a little, but because you couldn't love it a lot, which I think is really nice. A lovely little phrase here, a casserole of rot, which, yeah, and life is a tough room, which I've no doubt people, comedians would be agree with. It talks about them going through one of the Tennessee, I think, is one of those states lying on its side in defeat, slotted in like slate in a stacked stone fence, which is a nice little image. And the one that really, I suppose, when Bob Dylan's mentioned, it always piques my interest. And Lily observes that two of our mass shooters were named Bill. The music is worthless. Okay. They finally do take a stop. They stop at or Finn stops at a place called the Jumping Rest Tourist Lodge Home, which is a very Lorrie Moore type title for a motel, I would think, really. There's all this sort of dichotomy between rest and non-rest. And you've still got this idea of, well, is Lily really alive? Is this really happening? Or is Finn just imagining this road trip? Is she stuck in some kind of state? I think she's talked about being in the bardo, and maybe she keeps referring to her skin perhaps sloughing off and him having to tend it back into place, and about it being diaphanous and translucent, and we get that perhaps physically she's not totally there, but as they do finally get a rest from their car travel, they stop at this place. The innkeeper studied them, and Finn could see perhaps how Lily seemed to others. Was the bruising simply moulage? Were the shoes an act? Might they be in an experiment together, or perhaps a travelling circus? Was the translucence a trick? Was this a mohair jellyfish and her gamekeeper? Said the innkeeper. She opened a drawer and drew out some paperwork. She swiped Finn's visa in a plastic flatbed imprinter. A few electronics here, but for the laptop. What is the name of this town? Asked Finn. Tyler, said the innkeeper. After the president? No, the town used to be called Turkey Tail, but then changed its name. Tyler was not the president. He was a drunk who won the card game and so got to name the town. It's a quite nice little thing on there. When they get settled in. They get settled into the room, and Finn runs a bath for Lily and bathes her and cleans her off from all this dirt and grave stuff that is clinging about her, so that she can be sort of be cleaned up, and perhaps more real, um, to a large extent as well. Let's have a look. There's another piece here that I wanted to read you. We link back again to this thing of ambertypes, of these old photographs being used to replace broken windows and act as stained glass windows. This was referred to by the Elizabeth the landlady back in that time, and again, it's a feature of this place where they've just stopped. Finn had heard this was sometimes done. Oh, sorry, let's start from the beginning of that. The bathroom and bedroom windows were patched with ambrotypes, serving as make-do stained glass. Finn had heard this was sometimes done with old photography plates when windows broke and there was nothing else. It was a beautiful hack, and in these various portraits, the stiff, seated, injured, amputated people in their reverse black and white seemed to blink with interest when the sinking sun shifted behind them. But their dour faces, even in the flipped about black and white, made him feel sorry for them. Despite his scepticism about contemporary times, not one person he ever saw depicted from the past looked happy. They seemed to gaze out of their pictures with a deep wish for time travel and resurrection. Their stares said, "Stay where you are. It's better where you are. I would like to be there. Whatever your concerns are, let's trade." I don't think Finn would want to trade with them, and despite that, no, not at all. When she's in the bath, we get this. When she was in the tub, he cut all the clothes away from her, including his own corduroys. He's dressed up in his clothes rather than the shroud that she was previously in, with some scissors and a shaving kit he kept in his bag. And he pulled the shirt and the trousers out of the tub and tossed them in the rubbish bin. He had additional clothes that she could wear. He washed her carefully with one of the washcloths the inn had provided. And then later on it says, when he moved the washcloth down one arm, the skin of her hand, soaking in the water, seemed to come off a bit, and he slipped it back on like a glove. She was now sheer as the rice wrap on a spring roll, the bean sprouts and chopped purple cabbage visible inside her. "I'm a fish," she said. "You are a fish, or fish-like." "My mother is a fish." "Yep, there is that." "I suppose by now I've violated the 3-day fish rule." "The fish rule does not apply to you." "That's the nicest thing anyone has ever said to me." He dries her off, and she finally goes for a pee, which is, again, something that only a living person would do. A dead one probably wouldn't need to do that. And they get into bed to sleep. She goes off to sleep. He doesn't. And he gets up and starts having a look around, and comes to a bookcase, which has actually got some books in. Looks at the books, and then finds this. He pulled out the Guide to Butterflies. Butterflies were ghosts, it said. The earthly creature was a caterpillar, a butterfly the spirit. He felt he knew this already. Of course butterflies were ghosts, and he replaced the book in favour of a brittle, faded red one with a cracked spine and tawny, deckled pages. Inside was a woman's journal, all handwritten in the form of letters. He flipped through and saw that they went on for some time, almost a year, and that they were written to a particular person, a sister, but obviously never mailed, unless they were bound here as copies. And he began to read. Are you really up there? Can you hear me? Or are you with us down here? And that's where that particular section closes. We've linked together now the past and the present. We'll see where we go from here in the last part of the story. So, that's the novel as I see it now. I'm really enjoying it, although the road trip I sort of took the pace down a little, I suppose. I'm not sure that I found that as engaging as the earlier parts with his activities in New York and going to see his brother at the hospice. But there's some really beautiful writing in there, and we'll see how these two things intertwine in the last part very soon. So there we are. That's a cheerio from Booksong and from me, and happy reading to you all.